African.
You looking for that straight hair? That's that's right.
I have this book about Zachariah Sitchin.
Oh yeah.
Those books in Hindi.
That's a good book.
I got to the end of it, and you know, it was somewhere near the end. It was like it was better for them to stay on Earth because they've been down here long enough, and the time thing.
Right.
And it just stuck. It's just left right there. I want to know what happened after that.
It's still here. They're just mixed in our blood. You can tell by the eyes. Your eyes got your blood in it. The sleepy eye got another blood in it. Because if you look at somebody that comes out of the water, they have a certain look in their eyes. The ones that you're talking about when they say we got to stay on Earth have the big eye, open eye effect. Like the big eyes, but partially looking slant. Like, yo, you got them perfect. Me and you, we got the eyes of our ancestors coming out of the water. The ones that came from somewhere else here has an eye look. Now don't be looking at everybody's eyes, but you'll notice. The eyes are the key because they're open and they have a slant like to them. It appears to be a slant. Those are those Anunnaki eyes, those Natia eyes. Now what me and him have in common, but all of them are tall. And you see that, because you see some short people and tall people. A lot of the tall people are in that bloodline. You see that? And then when you see the thickness of us as a people, that's also another bloodline. That's why instead of having one blood type on Earth, you have A, B, O, and you have the combination of them. And it gives, and it's the fact that there were other blood types that came here and got involved in us. The Bible tried to tell you there were giants in the earth in those days. And after that, the sons of God came down. After what? After they started hitting up on sisters. That's what, after what? And then what happened was the sons of God came in. If I look at the Quran, it tells you about the Malaika coming down and associating with what they call it in the Quran, the Enoshite. They use the word Enoshite. That's why they give you the seed of Adam or Imran. When I go back to the Bible once again, for the Torah, for the Jews, they're always talking about the generations of Adam as a tribe. Because it says male and female, he created them and blessed them and called all their names Adam. So Adam was a tribe. It wasn't a single of a male and a female. It wasn't that. There were tribes. And in those tribes, they intermingled with people that came from other galaxies. That's the bottom line. And part of this galaxy. Or if it wasn't true, then we would have one look, we would have one height, we would have one blood type. It wouldn't be all these mixtures. So yes, there was a mixture. That's what happened. They settled here and became part of the people that was on what they were calling Eridu. They settled here and became part of Eridu. They are the ones that's always looking up when our people coming back home. That's what the ET story is about. They're gonna come and get us one day. That's some of how people say it. But some who say they don't mess with that are the originality of earthborn, through the water, through the makeup of the cells, coming through the water. That's us. So we have a mixture of both qualities in our genes and amongst our people. And that's why you have, like I said, tall and short, right? You have thin and wide, because these are the different characteristics. That's why it ended like that. We wanted you to see how it happens in the world today. And it deals with us, because when that incident did happen, there were no Orientals, there were no Caucasians, there were just Nubians. The Nubians were known to them as Lulu Amu, but they were all short. It wasn't like tall. The tallness came from them coming here, because all beings were short. Short, fast, and looked good. But then to them, because they didn't have the wavy hair, you had that kink hair, that hair that looked like you need you can't even comb it. You know, some people got that hair, that's that original hair. That original hair you can't comb. They came with a little wavy hair. That's why the giants came amongst they were called the Lulu Amu, the original seed on this planet. When them big tall giants came, as they called them, they had the wavy hair. They was wearing silk and stuff. And nobody, people on the planet never saw that before. And when she looked at and did like that, she was like, I gotta have them too. So in our mixing of genes, it gave us that wave, because we got waves now, and they can go long. That's what happened after that in the Lost Book of Ink. Because remember the word Inky, and they put it in big letters because Inky means master of the earth. And they're telling you about how they came and mastered certain things on earth and got stuck here. What they mean by time and what happened to them is because, remember, earth was breeding certain diseases. Not as bad as they are today, but they gave birth to certain qualities. And they knew if they took that back, the risk of them would hurt people. So they stayed there. The same way they was telling us, don't mix your seed with certain races because it's going to cause confusion and diseases. Doggone it, they gave us enough diseases and confusion for a lifetime. Has it or has it not? We never had dandruff. No. Black people are not known for having dandruff. We got it now. We never had syphilis. Right? J.A. Rogers tells you in the book over there how syphilis came about with the people coming from Europe and them dirty Vikings and all that. You ever see a Viking woman? They eating raw meat, pissing all over the place, eating the food that they peed on it. That gonna give you some poison in your blood. Go back, if you look at the history, that's nasty, but that's how they were. They knew each other by the stump, and like I said, there wasn't no bathroom, so they wasn't washing up. You ever see them cowboy movies? You ever seen a clean one? You ever see a dry day that's still wet and muddy? Guess what that was? Watch Deadwood, they'll teach you. So what happens is, we came along with the institution of cleanliness. Because we said, in order to be like our ancestors, which the world was calling God, you have to be clean, you have to be sharp, you have to keep yourself together. You have to accept that you're going to have good people and bad people, just accept both. These are the qualities that we were having. And this is why we made it up to this far. But some of those qualities go back to what we was calling Inky and them, and the ones before Inky and then Lil and them, they didn't come here first. There was many more that came. And all those qualities, that's why the planet is more peaceful in the history of it than it is violent. Violent only came with those that drink the blood and eat the blood and raw meat. That's when violence came, because they became human beasts. That's why at the time we call them behavior. They were human animals. We're not human animals. We just lived amongst them. And that's why it's going to be wiped away. That's got to go. That has to go. Because there's too much energy, too much mind, too much thought that says that has to be put to an end. And guess who did it? Y'all. Because you outlived slavery. You was put in a situation where, let's see what's going to happen. And we overcame. That's why their time is up. And their time is up. Y'all know it. Y'all know it. Take it from us old folks, right? Because we see some stuff that y'all are benefiting from our suffering. Because I don't think you've ever seen a bathroom where it said colored and white. So you never seen that. That's right. The only thing we have more pure stuff. We knew if you drank some 7-Up, that was off the charts. Now, I don't know what that is. I don't know what none of that stuff is. And bread, oh man, we used to make our own bread.
Don't you think with the
Am I right? We used to make our own bread, make our own clothes, make our own soap, still grow our own vegetables. That's the only thing kids today are missing. And that's why we may go back to that, so you can get that. That's pure life. That's what true life is. Not no McDonald's burger. My grandma used to make a burger like that big and have onions and peppers in that bad boy. Boy, I used to say, you couldn't eat it. Right? The juice falling out, you be eating the juice falling out. What the hell is this here? Flat and nasty tasting, feel like rubber. Y'all gotta make your own burger and you'll see. Get you some ground turkey, if you like beef, get beef. And you make your own burger, you'll see the difference. Am I lying, y'all? Shoot, I went to the Bahamas, they cutting up, not Bahamas, Trinidad, they cutting up onions and peppers and they macaroni and cheese. I was like, oh Lord, what the heck? That's how we ate. That's how we work. We gotta go back there. Yeah, don't worry about it. There's a lot of people with tattoos. But it's like for longevity of your body, it will affect you. For the longevity of time. Piercing is part of identification factor. When we was in certain parts of the world, like they'll tell you about Mesopotamia, they'll tell you about the Middle East, they'll tell you about Africa, they'll tell you about India. What happens is you had an identification factor of the piercing. On your right hand of your nose representing 360 degrees. You had another one in your ear, the reflection of the 360. That's why you have some people that have a nose ring that attach from their ear to their nose. They're combining the sun with the moon. So what happens is, it will let you know that that 360 is talking about you as the degrees of your body, 180 and 180. With the other one, it lets you know that even though some people looked at that as a moon, you were on the tutelage of heading for 360, so eventually you will become 720. So different markings in your nose by piercing was a different identification factor on what you knew, who you were, what kind of person you were. Because a lot of people were nose rings, and that always connected with movement tribe. Now, when it came down to the stomach with a diamond, that's blink. That's when you're in the club and you got the little tank top on and you dance and you like the little tall, you know, women like them tall men, and they looking at Chris and they want him to look at that navel, and then you start looking at that navel and they got a little tattoo and they got tattoo. That's why they do what they do. That's a different school now. Right? That's a whole different school. That's there for attraction. I don't know. Got the little bullseye back there on the back, the 62. That's a bullseye. Oh, X marks the spot. Turn it down. Y'all gonna leave that one alone, right? But identification factor, that's what the nose is. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Dead end.
Yeah, I want to ask about the tattoos.
Okay.
So are you saying you should get them removed?
Hey, I don't have
I mean, like as far as
so I don't know about removing. I just know that I just don't. I came from a different. Let me tell you something. When I was young, the only people who had tattoos were white boys and sailors. Right? And the sailors did it to get along, so brothers get abused, because you know you get lynched back in them days. So you got a tattoo as a mark of you want to be accepted by the crackers, and they didn't mess with you. But the white guys had it all over their body. The other one that had it was a specialty, and that was the Japanese. The Japanese in the project that I lived in. They had it because they connected back with a group known as the Yakuza. And that was the identification of a gang. And then it became popular, as I watched the bishops also get tattooed. These were brothers. They got tattoos that let you know about the gang. In so much that the other ones that was branding their bodies was fraternities. They take a coat hanger or an ironing and just put them Q signs up there or whatever. So everybody was using it to identify with their body. What happened with a lot of us is that when we became knowledgeable under, at the time, Imam Isa, the Emma became our identification factor. Because we wore Emmas as well as a target. And the Emma let you know, with the Azaba hanging down, how much you knew. So if you had a short one, but if you had one of them down there, you were stripping. But you know, the length let you know how, you know, somebody gonna have one walking down the Juba like this. We was like, look at this big girl here. So that's to let you know how much knowledge you knew. So each one, the tattoo is an identification factor. Everything about that marking is an identification factor. That's why the Nephilim marked themselves to let you know. Because remember, out of the Nephilims, you had 200. Everybody didn't think the same. Some of them were riskians who just sided with Zulu.
Right.
But they didn't do the stuff they was doing, like painting their bodies and their hair. So to let you know who was who, some people painted their hair yellow, some people painted their bodies, some wore silk. Shakar, what he did was he had his hair grow down long, so he would look like the finer side of them. So when you seen that long hair, you knew who it was. So everybody had something to identify with. That's all it is. Tattoos are still used today as an identification factor. As I look at some got skull and bones, some got some people got a whole Egyptian temple on their bodies. Some people got, you know, when you was in California, you had that tier for certain gangs you had. So it's an identification factor.
So remove the just cholesterol.
putting it up there? See, I don't know about removing because I never have. Can you get them removed? How do you get them removed?
Laser surgery, numerous.
Whoa, not one don't get it?
No, one don't get it. You got to go back a couple of times. So they're literally burning your skin repeatedly to have it removed, so it's going to do just as much damage.
Right. It's a part of society, but it's something that the identification behind it. It's just the identification behind it. That's why. Yeah.
So that would mean that mixed in with our Cherokee Indian ancestors and black people. They got a lot of tribal tattoos through their initiation.
But you got to ask yourself, how did that happen? Because remember, in order to get down to the Cherokee, as you call it, and the Navajo, there was a mixture of genes in there. And the mixture of the genes was of the Hoshin dynasty. And you got to go back and see that they were tapping in with a lot of them different markings of the body. Confucius. How did you know Confucius? And they got them big ass nails and looking like fangs and all that stuff. So you had that, and when you got that mixture, that became an identification factor. Because not all Native Americans did that. Right. Dark genes, how you gonna mark something black? It ain't gonna show. So the black tribe, but if you look at the ones that were a little light, there was an identification factor amongst the tribes. But they had their little conflicts too. So you had to know who was who. So they marked themselves. That's different than, putting a demon up on your chest. Right. Shoulder. That's a little different. That's identifying a whole other group. Yeah.
Hey, I was reading the Black Book about how the Netru or the outlaws crashed down in the Nile River.
Right.
Then I also read where the Anunnaki crashed down in the Persian Gulf.
Right.
Was that around the same time period? And
The Mentia did it first. They crashed in the Nile first. Then what we call the Anunnaki, they came later. Netru was here first. But they developed at the same time. It's just that Netru, they organized better. And their organization spread out much greater than the Sumerians. The Sumerians, when they came in, the ideas interchanged. The greatest ideas were the Netru. So when we say who was first, who was second, I like to say they came at the same time, just that the Netru developed quicker. And there was more greater than the development.
So it's not like this group was agreeable and then this group was crashed.
I mean, amongst them, you had agreeable and disagreeable. Both sides. On both sides. You had some hard-headed, because if you look at it, it's hard-headed. Right. Then you look at the other side of the family. It depends on which way you go. One little could be hard-headed to you, or empty, or cock-a-hell. Ergal definitely didn't want to hear that.
Like you said, it depends. If Little was a part agreeable with, he wanted all of us to die.
So to us, heck no. Right. But to the soldiers who wanted to kill us because of the noise, he was agreeable. Because he was helping them get rid of the problem. Agreeable, disagreeable, bad, and good is always done by people. There's really no such thing as good and bad, because people don't have an opinion about the same situation. People make good and bad. There's no such thing as good and bad. Nature lets you know there's no such good and bad. Because I don't give a damn if you're good or bad, and rain gonna give you some water to drink. Whether it's good or bad. So nature don't look at good and bad. We do. And the only reason we say good or bad is because the effect that situation and that person has on us, it becomes personal. Yeah. People say, well, the lottery is gambling till you find a ticket. I ain't gambling no more. It's my fortune, and I'm not giving this ticket back, right? But in church, he thought, hey, gambling. You know what I'm saying? It depends on who's judging the situation. That's why I like the good take that Pop has is who named God. God didn't name God. Somebody else named God. Then somebody gonna tell you about God. When they talk about God, what you think they talking about? Huh? Huh?
Man.
Ah, when they talk about God, they talking about Kaloon. That's right. But you have an identification of the all. But don't get cocky, because then